Admiral Jiwoo stood at the edge of the Grand Hall, watching as alien diplomats mingled. Her formal military uniform felt stiff and uncomfortable under the bright lights. She sipped her drink slowly, hoping to avoid another conversation that would turn into mockery of Earth's fleet. "Ah, the human commander graces us with her presence," came a voice from behind. Jiwoo turned to see Diplomat Krax, a tall blue-skinned Voldarian with 4 eyes and a permanent smirk. "Tell me, Admiral, how many of your ships broke down on the journey here this time?" Jiwoo forced a polite smile. "None, thankfully. Our engineers are quite resourceful." "Resourceful? Yes, that's the word." Krax laughed, drawing attention from nearby aliens. "Humans are so charmingly resourceful with their primitive technology, like watching children play with sticks and calling them spaceships." Several other diplomats joined the circle, their translator devices buzzing as they shared amused comments. Jiwoo had learned to read alien expressions well enough to recognize the universal look of condescension. "Your flagship still uses fusion drives, doesn't it?" asked a tentacled Moravian diplomat. "My species abandoned those nearly 3 centuries ago." "How quaint." Jiwoo nodded calmly. "We work with what we have." "And what little you have," Krax added, generating more laughter. Across the room, Director Taeho was engaged in his own diplomatic conversation. Unlike Jiwoo, he seemed perfectly at ease, smiling and nodding as if the subtle insults rolled off him like water. He caught Jiwoo's eye and gave her an almost imperceptible nod. That was their signal. Time to leave. "If you'll excuse me," Jiwoo said to the group, "I have duties to attend to." "Yes, those 12 ships won't command themselves," Krax called after her, prompting another round of laughter. Outside the embassy building, Jiwoo met Taeho by their transport. The night air was cool on her face, a welcome relief from the stuffy diplomatic hall. "Another productive evening?" Taeho asked, his voice carrying no trace of the frustration Jiwoo felt. "If by productive, you mean enduring 2 hours of being treated like a child playing with toys, then yes, very productive," Jiwoo replied as they entered the vehicle. Once inside with privacy screens activated, Taeho's expression changed completely. "Their arrogance works in our favor, Admiral. The more they underestimate us, the greater our advantage." The transport took them not to their official quarters, but to a nondescript building in the diplomatic district. After passing through 3 separate security checkpoints, they entered a hidden command center where a dozen officers worked at monitoring stations. "Status report," Taeho ordered as they entered. Commander Hyun-ki rose from his station. "Shadow Fleet construction remains on schedule, sir. Asteroid Base 7 just completed another destroyer, bringing total fleet strength to 287 vessels." Jiwoo studied the large display showing the secret shipyards hidden throughout Earth's solar system. Each dot represented a construction site, carefully shielded from detection by the Confederation's scanning technology. "The Orion-class battleships?" she asked. "The first 3 are complete and running final tests," Hyun-ki replied. "Their shield technology incorporates the improvements we reverse-engineered from the Voldarian designs. Our simulations show they'll withstand direct hits that would cripple Confederation vessels of similar size." Taeho nodded with satisfaction. "And our special projects?" "The gravity manipulation weapons are operational, Director. We've successfully disguised the platforms as standard communication satellites in Earth orbit. The Confederation inspectors didn't look twice at them during their last visit." Jiwoo moved to a smaller display showing footage of human crews training in simulators. "How are the personnel doing?" "Excelling, Admiral," Hyun-ki said proudly. "We've been running combat drills 16 hours a day. When the time comes, they'll be ready." Jiwoo remembered the mockery she'd endured just an hour earlier and felt a surge of pride in what they were accomplishing in secret. For 6 years since joining the Confederation, Earth had played the role of the backward newcomer while quietly preparing for the worst. "The Dorsians are growing more aggressive," Taeho noted, bringing up reports on another screen. Their ambassador practically threatened the Arcturus sector yesterday. The Confederation isn't taking the threat seriously enough, Jigu said. They think their technological superiority makes them invincible. A common failing among old powers, Taeho agreed. They've forgotten what it means to fight for survival. Jiwu studied the classified intelligence reports. The Dorsians will move soon. Their fleet movements suggest they're preparing for something big. Then we continue as planned, Taeho said firmly. Tomorrow, you'll take our official fleet on its scheduled patrol. Make sure the Confederation observers note how slowly our ships accelerate. Let them file their usual reports about human inefficiency. Meanwhile, I'll activate the next phase of Shadow Fleet deployment. Jiwu added, we'll move the new destroyers to the outer system positions. A junior officer approached with a datapad. Admiral, we've received the latest technology assessment from Confederation Central. They've classified Earth as a Category 4 civilization. Jiwu took the pad, her eyes narrowing. Category 4. That's lower than last quarter. They cited our apparent difficulty with gravity manipulation theory, the officer explained. After your official fleet's navigation computers malfunctioned during the joint exercise. A malfunction we carefully engineered, Taeho said with a thin smile. Excellent. The lower our rating, the less attention they pay to us. Later that night, Jiwu stood on the observation deck of the hidden command center, looking up at the stars. Behind her, the door slid open as Taeho joined her. Sometimes I wonder if we're being paranoid, she said quietly. Building all this in secret. Taeho stood beside her. Humanity learned the hard way that being unprepared leads to disaster. Our history is filled with civilizations that fell because they couldn't defend themselves. I know you're right, Jiwu sighed. I just wish they'd see us as equals. They will, Taeho assured her. One day. But for now, let them mock us. Let them underestimate us. When the time comes, if it comes, they'll learn that humanity's greatest strength has always been our ability to appear weak while preparing to be strong. Jiwu nodded, thinking of the hidden fleet, hundreds of advanced warships waiting in the shadows. Let the Confederation laugh at their outdated patrol vessels. Let the Dorsians dismiss them as an easy target. They would learn the truth soon enough. The emergency alarms blared throughout Earth's official command center as reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Admiral Jiwu rushed to the central display, where her officers were tracking multiple Dorsian attack fleets striking Confederation worlds simultaneously. Tyrax Prime has fallen, reported Commander Min-Su, her face pale. Beltar and Novus 3 are under heavy bombardment. The Confederation defense fleet is scattered, trying to respond to too many attacks at once. Jiwu studied the tactical display grimly. The Dorsian Empire had launched a massive offensive, striking 12 systems in a coordinated assault. The Confederation, used to centuries of relative peace, was caught completely unprepared. And Earth? She asked, though she already knew the answer. Min-Su pointed to a small cluster of dots approaching their system. A Dorsian battle group was detected crossing the outer system boundary an hour ago. The Confederation has assigned only 2 patrol cruisers to our defense. 2 cruisers, Jiwu repeated flatly, against a Dorsian battle group. The Confederation command says they have no ships to spare, Min-Su explained. They're prioritizing their core worlds. Of course they were. Earth was considered expendable, a primitive newcomer of little strategic value. Jiwu touched the communication panel on her wrist. Director Taeho needs to see this immediately. Within 20 minutes, Taeho arrived at the command center. He surveyed the tactical displays in silence before turning to Jiwu. How long until the Dorsian force reaches Earth? Approximately 36 hours at their current speed, she answered. Taeho nodded. Then we continue as planned. Maintain the appearance of panic and disorganization. Let's give the Confederation observers exactly what they expect to see. Humans scrambling with inadequate technology. A junior officer interrupted them. Admiral, We're receiving a direct transmission from the approaching Dorjan fleet. The main screen flickered to life, revealing the scaled, reptilian face of a Dorjan commander. His red eyes gleamed with contempt as he regarded the humans. "I am War Captain Raxus of the Dorjan Empire," he announced. "Your pathetic world lies in our path of conquest. The Confederation cannot save you. I offer you the chance to surrender unconditionally within 72 hours. If you comply, your people will be spared and merely subjugated. If you resist, we will reduce your cities to ash from orbit." Jiwoo stepped forward, playing her role perfectly. "This is Admiral Jiwoo of Earth Defense Command. We are a peaceful member of the Confederation. Surely we can negotiate." "There is nothing to negotiate," Raxus interrupted. 72 hours, human. Then we begin the bombardment." The transmission ended abruptly. "Very convincing performance, Admiral," Taiho said quietly. Jiwoo's expression hardened. It wasn't entirely an act. "They really will destroy our cities if given the chance." "They won't get that chance," Taiho assured her. He turned to the communications officer. "Establish a secure channel to Ambassador Sangmin at the Confederation Council, and activate Shadow Protocol Level 2. Meanwhile, in the Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Confederation, Earth's Ambassador Sangmin stood before representatives of 300 alien species. The massive chamber, usually a place of measured debate, was now in chaos as reports of Dorjan attacks continued to arrive. "Earth requests immediate military assistance," Sangmin pleaded, his voice nearly lost in the commotion. "We have minimal defenses and stand directly in the path of a Dorjan battle group." The council president, a tall avian being named Trell, raised his wings for silence. "The council recognizes Earth's request, but our forces are stretched thin. We must prioritize strategically vital systems. Earth is a full member of this confederation," Sangmin reminded them. "We joined in good faith, trusting in mutual protection." From the Voldarian section, Ambassador Krax laughed openly. "Your world contributes almost nothing to Confederation defense. Your technology is centuries behind ours. What exactly did you expect?" "We expected the protection promised in the Charter," Sangmin replied firmly. The Moravian representative waved his tentacles dismissively. Perhaps his strategic concession is in order. The Dorjans might be satisfied with claiming Earth and a few other minor worlds, giving us time to organize our defenses. Murmurs of agreement spread through the chamber. Sangmin stared in disbelief. "You're suggesting sacrificing Earth to buy time." "It's simple logic," the Moravian continued. "Your world has little strategic value. The loss would be regrettable but acceptable compared to the alternative. And what of the billions of humans who would suffer under Dorjan rule?" Sangmin demanded. The council president sighed. "We will dispatch 2 cruisers to assist with evacuation of key personnel. That is all we can spare at this time." As the council moved on to discuss the defense of more valuable worlds, Sangmin returned to his seat, barely containing his anger. His communication device vibrated with an encrypted message from Director Taiho. "Shadow Protocol Level 2 activated. Maintain APPRNC of Desperation. Await your instructions." Back on Earth, Jiwoo stood in the real command center, hidden beneath the Pacific Ocean. Unlike the decoy facility above, this one hummed with purposeful activity as officers coordinated the secret deployment of Earth's true defensive capabilities. "Shadow Fleet elements moving into position," reported Admiral Hunke. "All ships maintaining stealth protocols. The Confederation observers haven't detected anything unusual." On the main display, hundreds of dots represented Earth's hidden warships moving into predetermined defensive positions throughout the solar system. 6 years of preparation were about to be tested. "What about the orbital platforms?" Jiwoo asked. "All 24 gravity manipulation platforms are online, disguised as communication satellites. The Dorjans won't detect their true purpose until they're activated." Jiwoo nodded with satisfaction. "And our official fleet?" Performing exactly as expected, Hyunki said with a slight smile. The 6 ships are running drills with obvious inefficiency. The Confederation observers are sending regular reports about our disorganized response. Taiho joined them at the command console. Ambassador Sang-min reports that the Confederation has essentially abandoned us, just as we anticipated. Then we're on our own, Ji-woo said. As humanity has always been, Taiho replied calmly. We trusted no one but ourselves when we built the Shadow Fleet. Now we'll see if our caution was justified. Ji-woo studied the tactical display showing the approaching Dorjan fleet, 50 warships against Earth's supposed 6. The aliens were in for a surprise. We have 48 hours before they're in weapons range, she noted. Let's continue the charade until the last possible moment. Let them think we're weak and desperate. And then, Hyunki asked. Ji-woo's eyes hardened. And then we show the galaxy why humans survived thousands of years of warfare against ourselves. The Dorjans think they're hunting prey. They're about to discover they've stumbled into a predator's den. As night fell over Earth, billions of humans went about their lives, most completely unaware of both the approaching danger and the secret fleet preparing to defend them. The Dorjan ultimatum had not been made public to prevent panic. Above them all, hidden in plain sight, Earth's true strength waited silently in the darkness of space, ready to reveal itself when the moment came. The massive Dorjan warships entered Earth's solar system in a tight formation that radiated confidence. Their hulls gleamed with a metallic sheen under the distant sun, weapons ports open in an obvious display of power. At the center of their formation, the command ship dwarfed the others, nearly 5 kilometers long with jagged protrusions that resembled teeth. On Earth's official command deck, Admiral Ji-woo stood before the main view screen, her face carefully arranged to show appropriate fear and concern for the benefit of the Confederation observers present. 2 blue-skinned aliens from the diplomatic corps stood nearby, recording everything with an air of detached interest. The Dorjan fleet has crossed Mars orbit, announced Commander Min-soo. 72 hours have elapsed. They're transmitting again. The screen flickered, revealing War Captain Raxus. His scaled face showed no emotion as he spoke. Your time has expired, humans. You have not surrendered. Prepare for destruction. Ji-woo stepped forward. Please, we need more time. Our leadership is still discussing terms. There are no terms to discuss, Raxus interrupted. Only submission or death. One of the Confederation observers stepped forward. As representatives of the Confederation, we protest this unprovoked aggression against a member world. Raxus laughed, a harsh sound like stones grinding together. Your protest is noted and ignored. The Confederation has proven itself weak. Too afraid to send a proper defense fleet. Now stand aside and watch what happens to those you abandon. The transmission ended. Ji-woo looked at the Confederation observers with calculated desperation. You must call for reinforcements. The taller observer shook his head. Our nearest battle group is 3 days away, engaged with Dorjan forces at Proxima Centauri. I'm afraid Earth stands alone. Ji-woo turned to her officers. We have no choice. Deploy our defensive fleet. On the tactical display, 6 small dots representing Earth's visible ships moved out from orbit. Even to untrained eyes, their formation appeared clumsy and disorganized compared to the Dorjan battle group. Those ships are no match for the Dorjans, one observer commented. They'll be destroyed in minutes. They're all we have, Ji-woo replied quietly. She touched her communication device. All ships, this is Admiral Ji-woo. Fall back to lunar orbit. I repeat, retreat behind the moon. The observers exchanged glances. You're not even going to attempt to fight. We're buying time for evacuations, Ji-woo explained. Our ships can't stand against theirs. Perhaps if we don't resist, they'll be more merciful. As Earth's small fleet disappeared behind the moon, the command deck fell silent. The observers began preparing their final reports, documenting what they clearly believed would be the last hours of human independence. Jetwoo checked her chronometer and met the eyes of her communications officer. A subtle nod passed between them. "I need to inform Director Tahoe of the situation," Jetwoo announced. "Please excuse me." She stepped into her private office and secured the door. Within seconds, a hidden panel slid open in the wall, revealing a small transport tube. Jetwoo stepped inside without hesitation, and the tube whisked her away at incredible speed, deep beneath the ocean floor. 2 minutes later, she emerged in the true command center. Director Tahoe stood at the central platform, surrounded by officers monitoring hundreds of displays. The atmosphere here couldn't have been more different: focused, confident, prepared. "The observers bought our retreat?" Tahoe asked. Jetwoo nodded. "Completely. They think we're hiding in fear." The Dorjans, advancing toward Earth exactly as predicted. "They'll be in weapons range in 17 minutes. Tahoe's face showed grim satisfaction. "Then it's time." He pressed his palm against a scanner, and a special command console rose from the floor. "Authorization. Tahoe, Director, Shadow Fleet Command. Activate Protocol Lazarus." The computer's voice responded. "Protocol Lazarus activated." Shadow Fleet emerging from stealth in 30 seconds. Throughout the solar system, hidden things began to move. Inside the asteroid belt, massive sections of what appeared to be ordinary space rock split apart, revealing shipyards that had been concealed for years. From Jupiter's moons, hangars opened in what aliens had always dismissed as natural craters. Near Venus, clouds that had been carefully maintained to appear as normal atmospheric disturbances dissipated, uncovering docking stations where sleek warships waited. On the command deck's main display, hundreds of blue dots appeared, representing Earth's true fleet, warships with technology that rivaled or surpassed anything in the Confederation. "All ships reporting ready, Admiral," announced Commander Gunki. "Battle Formation Delta." Jetwoo took her place at the command station. "Transfer my flag to the Defiance. I'll lead from the front." Within moments, Jetwoo stood on the bridge of her flagship, a vessel 3 times larger than anything Earth had ever shown to the Confederation. Its curved hull gleamed with a material that absorbed rather than reflected light, making it appear as a shadow moving against the stars. "The Dorjans have detected our ships," reported the tactical officer. "They're adjusting their formation." "They appear confused." "The Confederation observers?" Jetwoo asked. "Their transmissions indicate extreme surprise. They're sending emergency signals to their headquarters." Jetwoo allowed herself a small smile. 6 years of deception were about to pay off. "Open a channel to the Dorjan flagship," she ordered. "And make sure the Confederation can hear us too." War Captain Raxus appeared on screen again, but his confidence had visibly faltered. Behind him, other Dorjans rushed about in what appeared to be alarm. "What trickery is this?" he demanded. "Where did these ships come from?" Jetwoo stood tall, no longer playing the role of the fearful, inferior human. "This is Admiral Jetwoo of the Earth Defense Force. Those 6 ships you saw were merely our greeting party. Allow me to introduce you to our actual fleet." The camera view widened to show the bridge of the Defiance, sleek, advanced, with technology clearly beyond what the Dorjans possessed. "Impossible," Raxus hissed. "The Confederation reports classified humans as barely capable of interplanetary travel." "Perhaps you should have asked about our history of warfare before mocking us," Jetwoo replied calmly. "Humans have fought each other for thousands of years. Did you really think we would join a galactic community without insurance?" On the Confederation observation vessel, the 2 aliens watched in stunned silence as hundreds of advanced human warships moved into perfect formation. Their sensors struggled to analyze the technology they were witnessing. "How?" one whispered. "Their energy signatures. These aren't primitive fusion drives. Some of these technologies exceed our own." His companion was already frantically communicating with their headquarters. "The Confederation classified them as Category 4. How could we have been so wrong?" The Shadow Fleet split into precise attack formations, each group targeting specific sections of the Dorjan force. The movements revealed years of careful drilling and preparation, nothing like the clumsy maneuvers of the decoy ships. War Captain Raxus, Jiwoo continued, "You have two options. Withdraw immediately from Earth space or face destruction. You have 5 minutes to decide." Raxus snarled, his pride clearly wounded. "Dorjans do not retreat. Your hidden fleet means nothing. We will still crush you." Jiwoo had expected this response. "Very well. You've made your choice." She turned to her tactical officer. "Target their lead destroyers. Show them what we can do." From the front line of Earth's fleet, 12 destroyers fired simultaneously. Beams of concentrated energy, utilizing principles the Confederation had declared theoretically impossible, lanced across space and struck the Dorjan vessels. Instead of the expected explosion, the Dorjan ships simply went dark, their systems completely shut down by weapons designed to disable rather than destroy. "What have you done?" Raxus demanded, actual fear entering his voice for the first time. "Targeted electromagnetic pulse weapons," Jiwoo explained, "custom designed for Dorjan shield frequencies. Those ships will drift harmlessly for about 6 hours before their systems can restart." The remaining Dorjan ships broke formation, some moving to attack, others clearly preparing to retreat. "All ships engage as planned," Jiwoo ordered. "Disable when possible, destroy when necessary." Earth's fleet moved with precision that spoke of countless hours of training. Smaller craft swarmed between the larger vessels, executing complex maneuvers that confused Dorjan targeting systems. From the Confederation observation vessel, emergency transmissions streamed toward their headquarters. "Request immediate diplomatic intervention. Humans possess technology far beyond our estimates." Repeat, Earth forces engaging Dorjan fleet with unexpected superiority. As the battle unfolded, Jiwoo stood calmly on her bridge. The deception had worked perfectly. For 6 years, Earth had played the role of the primitive newcomer while secretly building one of the most advanced fleets in the galaxy. "Perhaps now," she said quietly to herself, "they'll learn to take us seriously." Space lit up with energy discharges as Earth's shadow fleet engaged the Dorjan armada. The Dorjan ships, recovering from their initial shock, had reformed into battle positions. Their central command vessel broadcast orders to its fleet: destroy the human ships at all costs. Admiral Jiwoo stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching the tactical display with calm focus. Unlike the panicked Dorjans, her crew worked with practiced efficiency. 6 years of secret drills were paying off. "First wave of fighters launching now," reported Commander Hyun-ki. From the bays of Earth's larger vessels, hundreds of small craft emerged. Each was barely 15 meters long, piloted by a single human. The Dorjans initially ignored them, focusing their main weapons on Earth's capital ships instead. "They don't consider our fighters a threat," Jiwoo observed. "Good." The human small craft moved in what appeared to be chaotic patterns, but was actually a carefully choreographed dance. They approached the Dorjan cruisers from multiple angles, darting between their energy beams. "Fighter groups Alpha through Delta, execute maneuver Hornet's Nest," Jiwoo ordered. The swarm of human fighters suddenly converged on a single Dorjan destroyer. Each fighter fired specialized disruptor beams at the same shield section. Individually, each beam was too weak to penetrate, but together they created a resonance effect that made the shield flicker and fail. "Shield breach confirmed," called the tactical officer, deploying EMP missiles. The fighters released small projectiles that slipped through the gap in the destroyer's shields. Instead of explosions, the missiles released concentrated electromagnetic pulses directly against the ship's hull. The destroyer's lights flickered and died as its systems shut down. "One destroyer neutralized," Hyun-ki announced. Jiwoo nodded. "Begin pattern replication. Target their heavy cruisers next." The fighter swarms split and reformed, targeting 4 more Dorjan vessels simultaneously. The Dorjans, now recognizing the threat, tried to target the small craft, but their weapons systems were designed for ship-to-ship combat, not countering nimble fighters. On the Confederation observation vessel, the two diplomats watched in stunned silence. "This is impossible," said the senior observer, named Kellex. "Their fighters are penetrating Dorjan shields using some kind of resonance technique. That's advanced technology, far beyond Category 4 civilization capability." His junior colleague was frantically recording everything. "Our tactical analysts will want to study this. The humans are using coordinated small craft attacks in a way no one in the Confederation has attempted. Send emergency updates to all council members," Kellex ordered. "The humans have deceived us about their capabilities." Throughout the solar system, hidden communication relays transmitted the battle footage to watching governments across the Confederation. Species that had dismissed humanity as primitive now watched with growing alarm and interest as Earth's forces systematically disabled the feared Dorjan fleet. War Captain Raxus raged on the bridge of his command ship. 3 of his destroyers and 2 cruisers had been neutralized without being destroyed, their crews helplessly trapped aboard powerless vessels. "Target those fighters with everything we have," he bellowed. "Launch our own fighter squadrons." Dorjan fighters emerged from their carriers, larger and more heavily armed than the human craft. But what they gained in firepower, they lost in agility. The human pilots demonstrated maneuvers that pushed the boundaries of their craft's capabilities, rolling and spinning to avoid enemy fire, while maintaining their coordinated attack patterns. "Captain," reported a Dorjan officer, "the Voldarian government is dispatching a battle group to this system. They claim to be coming to assist Earth." "The Voldarians," Raxus snarled. "They mocked these humans mere days ago." "The Moravians as well," added another officer. "And the Arcturus Confederation. They're all sending ships." Raxus understood the implications. The powers that had stood by, expecting Earth to fall easily, were now rushing to align themselves with this unexpectedly powerful civilization. Diplomatic and military calculations across the galaxy were being revised in real time as the battle unfolded. "We cannot lose this battle," Raxus decided. "Prepare the main force for a direct assault on Earth itself. If we cannot defeat their fleet, we will hold their homeworld hostage." On the Defiance, Ji Woo received the warning from her sensor officers. "Admiral, the Dorjan main force is changing formation. They appear to be preparing for a push toward Earth, bypassing our fleet positions." Ji Woo had anticipated this. "They're getting desperate. Time for our final surprise." She opened a channel to Director Taiho. "Director, the Dorjans are making their move toward Earth. Request authorization to activate the orbital platforms." Taiho's face appeared on the screen. "Authorization granted. Admiral, show them the full extent of our preparations." Ji Woo turned to her communications officer. "Broadcast on all frequencies, including Confederation channels. I want everyone to see this." She stood straighter as the camera focused on her. "Attention Dorjan fleet. This is Admiral Ji Woo. Your attempt to threaten our homeworld will fail. Earth is not defenseless as you believed." With a nod to her tactical officer, Ji Woo gave the command. "Activate gravity defense grid." Around Earth, 24 satellites that had for years been logged in Confederation records as communication relays suddenly changed. Panels opened to reveal sophisticated equipment that began to glow with blue-white energy. "What are those?" demanded Raxus as his sensors detected the change. "Analyzing," replied his science officer, voice trembling. "They appear to be gravity manipulation platforms. But that's impossible. Even the Confederation's central worlds don't have functional gravity weapons." Ji Woo watched with satisfaction as the platforms powered up. "Humanity has always been good at doing the impossible when our survival depends on it. Target the Dorjan command ship. Partial containment field only." The platforms fired simultaneously, not with beams of energy but with invisible forces that bent space itself. Around Raxus's massive command vessel, space distorted. The ship shuddered as gravity waves interfered with its propulsion and weapon systems. It began to slow, trapped in a partial containment field that allowed it to maintain life support but nothing else. Our readings indicate they created a localized gravity well, reported the Confederation observer Kellix to his headquarters. The technology is beyond anything in our databases. The humans have mastered gravity manipulation to a degree we thought was theoretical. More Dorsian ships found themselves caught in similar fields, unable to advance or retreat, their weapons useless. The smaller Earth vessels continued their coordinated attacks on the remaining free ships, systematically disabling them with precision strikes. In his trapped command ship, Raxus watched as his invasion force was neutralized ship by ship. "How?" he whispered. "How could they have hidden this from the Confederation?" From our spies, a human face appeared on his view screen, not Jiwoo, but Director Taho. "War Captain Raxus," Taho said calmly. "Your fleet is defeated. We could destroy your vessels completely, but unlike the Dorjan Empire, we prefer to avoid unnecessary casualties. Surrender your remaining forces, and we will permit you to leave our system once terms are negotiated." Raxus snarled in defiance, but around him, his officers looked to each other with uncertainty. The humans had outmaneuvered and outfought them at every turn. Their mighty armada was now scattered and disabled by an enemy they had severely underestimated. On the Defiance, Jiwoo watched as the tactical display showed the battle's conclusion. Human fighters surrounded the disabled Dorsian vessels, while the gravity platforms maintained their hold on the command ship. "Incoming transmission," announced her communications officer. "Multiple Confederation vessels approaching. The Voldarian ambassador requests permission to enter Earth space to offer friendship and alliance." Jiwoo smiled thinly. "How convenient that they've discovered our value now." "The Moravians as well," added the officer. "And 3 other species." Director Taho's voice came through on a private channel. "Accept their approaches, Admiral, but maintain alert status. Today, the galaxy has learned that humanity is not to be trifled with. Tomorrow, we begin redefining our place in the Confederation." As the last Dorsian ships signaled their surrender, Jiwoo looked out at the stars beyond her view screen. Earth had revealed its strength today, but she knew this was just the beginning of a new chapter for humanity among the stars. The Grand Chamber of the Confederation Council hummed with excited whispers as Ambassador Sangmin took his place at the speaker's podium. Just 1 week ago, he had stood in this same spot begging for help. Today, representatives from 300 species leaned forward in their seats, eager to hear from the human whose civilization had shocked the galaxy. The council president, still visibly uncomfortable, introduced him. "The council recognizes Ambassador Sangmin of Earth, who will address recent events in the Sol system." Sangmin surveyed the chamber calmly before speaking. "Esteemed representatives, 1 week ago in this chamber, Earth was deemed expendable. Today, I stand before you as the representative of a world that successfully repelled the Dorjan Empire without your assistance." The chamber remained unusually quiet as he continued. "For 6 years since joining the Confederation, Earth has been mocked for our supposedly primitive technology. While your diplomats laughed at our visible fleet, we built another in secret. While your scientists dismissed our theoretical understanding, we developed technologies some of you still consider impossible." Ambassador Krax of the Voldarians rose from his seat. "With all due respect, Ambassador, such deception violates the spirit of Confederation membership. Why did Earth hide its true capabilities?" Sangmin smiled thinly. "I believe it was you, Ambassador Krax, who once compared our ships to children's toys. When we joined the Confederation, we hoped to find true allies. Instead, we found civilizations that viewed us as primitives unworthy of respect." He pressed a button, and the chamber's display showed historical images of Earth's wars. "Humans have fought each other for thousands of years. Our history is filled with examples of stronger powers destroying weaker ones. We learned caution through blood and fire. When we discovered we were alone among the stars, we hoped to find a more enlightened community." The images changed to show Confederation diplomatic meetings where humans were clearly being mocked. "Instead, we found the same old story. So we adapted. We showed you what you expected to see while preparing for the worst. The Dorjan attack simply forced us to reveal our preparations sooner than planned. The council president shifted uncomfortably. What does Earth want now, Ambassador? Respect, Sangmin replied simply. And a reconsideration of Earth's status within the Confederation. Our contributions have been significantly undervalued. Within days, the political landscape of the galaxy shifted dramatically. Species that had once dismissed humanity now scrambled to establish closer ties. Trade delegations, military attaches, and diplomatic missions flooded to Earth. The Confederation Council voted to elevate Earth's status, granting humans seats on previously closed military and scientific committees. The Dorjan Empire, humiliated by their defeat, withdrew to their borders. Their aggressive expansion halted as other powers, emboldened by Earth's example, strengthened their defenses using principles demonstrated in the battle. In Earth orbit, Admiral Jiwoo stood at the observation window of the space station Harmony. Beside her, Director Taiho watched as construction drones worked on a massive structure nearby, the framework of the first Joint Earth Confederation defense platform. The Voldarians have provided their latest shield technology, Taiho noted. Amazing how generous they've become since seeing our fleet in action. Jiwoo nodded. The Moravians as well. Their ambassador practically begged to establish a permanent military liaison office. And the Arcturus Confederation has proposed a direct alliance, Taiho added. They were quite impressed by our gravity manipulation platforms. Through the window, they could see dozens of ships in Earth orbit, diplomatic vessels, trade ships, and military observers from across the galaxy. Earth, once dismissed as a backwater, had become the center of attention. Admiral, called a young officer approaching with a datapad. The Dorjans have signed the formal peace agreement. Their forces have withdrawn beyond the agreed boundary. Thank you, Lieutenant, Jiwoo replied. When they were alone again, Taiho spoke more quietly. Our intelligence suggests the Dorjans don't believe we showed them everything. They think we're still hiding capabilities. Jiwoo smiled slightly. Are we? That's classified. Admiral, Taiho replied with a rare hint of humor. A small ship docked at the station, and minutes later, Ambassador Sangmin joined them at the observation window. The Council has approved our proposal for the Joint Defense Network, he reported, and Earth will chair the committee overseeing its development. How quickly they've come to value our input, Jiwoo observed dryly. Sangmin handed her a datapad. This arrived from Confederation Intelligence. They've completed their revised assessment of Earth's technological capabilities. Jiwoo scanned the document and raised an eyebrow. Category 1. They've moved us from Category 4 to Category 1 in a week. They're overcompensating, Taiho said. Fear has replaced dismissal. Is fear better than contempt? Sangmin wondered. Neither is ideal, Taiho replied. But fear buys time. Respect must be earned more slowly. Below them, Earth rotated serenely, its blue oceans and white clouds showing no sign of the military power that had so shocked the galaxy. The ancient Chinese strategist Sun Tzu wrote about the importance of deception in warfare, Taiho said thoughtfully. Appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak. For 6 years, we followed that philosophy. It served us well. Will we continue hiding our true capabilities? Sangmin asked. Jiwoo looked out at the stars. We've revealed what we needed to secure our position, but not everything. The deeper bunkers on Mars, Taiho asked quietly. The research stations in the Kuiper Belt, added Sangmin. Jiwoo nodded slightly. Humanity survived millennia of conflict by always preparing for the worst. That won't change because we've won one battle. A week later, Admiral Jiwoo hosted representatives from 12 major Confederation powers aboard the Defiance. The ship, once hidden, now served as a symbol of Earth's new status. The alien diplomats marveled at its technology as Jiwoo led them on a carefully planned tour. Your gravity manipulation technology is remarkable, said the Voldarian military attaché, who had replaced the mocking cracks. Our scientists are eager to collaborate. We look forward to working together, Ji Woo replied diplomatically. After the tour concluded and the visitors departed, Ji Woo met with Director Taiho in her private quarters. They're still trying to assess exactly what we're capable of, she noted. Let them wonder, Taiho replied. Uncertainty is a powerful deterrent. Ji Woo moved to the window, looking out at the vast expanse of space. Do you think they've learned their lesson about underestimating us? Some have, Taiho said. Others may need more convincing. The galaxy is a dangerous place, Admiral. We revealed our shadow fleet, but wisdom suggests we should always have contingencies. Project Phoenix, Ji Woo asked, referring to their newest secret initiative. Taiho nodded. Proceeding on schedule in the secure facilities, the Confederation would be quite surprised to learn what we're developing now. Ji Woo smiled as she gazed at the stars. After all, we've only revealed our first line of defenses. In the depths of space, beyond the orbit of Neptune, construction continued on facilities no alien had been permitted to see. Humanity had earned its place at the galactic table, but centuries of warfare had taught them a crucial lesson. Peace is most secure when backed by strength, and secrets kept can be more valuable than secrets revealed. Earth would never again be mocked by the galaxy, but neither would it reveal all it could do. Some cards would remain hidden, ready to be played if the need ever arose again.